Luis Ortiz is the mandatory challenger for Anthony Joshua's WBA heavyweight world title. In recent weeks, Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has come out and said that they have been given some type of special exemption by the WBA, whereby they will be allowed to have Joshua fight somebody else before he has to face Luis Ortiz, who, like I say, is his WBA mandatory. Well, Ortiz's manager has come out and said that he's spoken to the WBA and they have indicated to him that no such exemption has been given to Team Joshua. So I'm going to quote Luis Ortiz's manager. Sorry if I said promoter, I'm not sure. I'm muddling my words here, but yeah, Luis Ortiz's manager, his surname is Jimenez. It doesn't list his first name here. I believe it's J, but I could be wrong. Anyway, Mr. Jimenez says, "Listen, we would have loved to take Briggs' place against Oquendo, but we are still waiting on Luis's promoter, Dade Promotions, to tell us what's going on with the WBA mandatory situation. I know that their attorneys from Andrew Horn's firm had told them that they had already put in requests to the WBA and Eddie Hearn for the mandatory defense, but so far no answer. I just read an article on Boxing Scene where Eddie Hearn is saying that the WBA gave him a special permit. I don't know where he is getting this from because I spoke to Mendoza myself and no such permit has been given. I really want all this resolved because before anything, I'm a hardcore boxing fan and I know Joshua has no faults in none of this, but as far as I've heard from Jorge Clemente, who is Ortiz's promoter, he tells us that his attorneys at the Andrew Horn firm had told him no such permit is valid this time because they already got one when they made the first fight. And yes, it was a good fight, but Joshua KO'd Klitschko at the end. Shit, let's just give Brook his special permit too, because that was a close fight until he got stopped by Spence. You see, this don't make sense. All I want is for them to do what's right, and that's all. I feel this sport needs a boxing union or some attention because it's going from a sport to a business, and that's not boxing. We should call it WWE boxing instead. This is why we are losing so many fans to MMA. I would rather Eddie Hearn just come out of the closet and admit Luis is too dangerous for Joshua, especially after what just happened to his fighter on Saturday when Brook lost to Spence and karma got him and he lost his title. So I doubt he wants another boxer representing USA to go over against Joshua this year, and that's a fact. He won't face Luis or Deontay Wilder." So those are the words of Mr. Jimenez, the manager of Luis Ortiz. Do you agree with what Mr. Jimenez is saying here, as far as he thinks Eddie Hearn is trying to keep Joshua away from Luis Ortiz? Is that the reason that Eddie Hearn actually signed Luis Ortiz briefly to try and keep him away from Joshua? Or maybe it's just a case of Eddie Hearn looking out for financial interest. I mean, the Klitschko fight is obviously a hell of a lot bigger fight than the Ortiz fight. Maybe it's a risk-reward situation because they are talking about fighting Kubrat Pulev. You know, regardless of the Klitschko situation, if they get to fight Klitschko next or if they don't, they're still talking about fighting Pulev either before Klitschko or, well, maybe not fighting Klitschko at all, but you know, if the Klitschko fight goes ahead, they're going to fight Pulev straight after it if they get to keep hold of the IBF belt. That's what Eddie Hearn's been saying. And if the Klitschko fight don't go ahead, they're saying they're definitely going to have Joshua fight Kubrat Pulev next. So there's no issue with fighting Pulev. But is that because the IBF tend to be more strict with their mandatories? Or is that because that's a fight that Eddie Hearn sees as less dangerous for Joshua than Luis Ortiz? Drop your thoughts and views in the comment section below about this particular story. All right, it's happening. I'm out.